Hi there, my name is Toby, and on this channel I talk about the energy, the ether, the chi, the prana, the force, and to me this is all one and the same thing, and I talk about it in so many different ways, and I talk about it scientifically in what I call ether physics. And the reason I talk about it scientifically and in all these different ways is because I believe this force has been actively taken away from us. It's a big deal. Now, if this force, the life force, we all have it, we're all made of this force, how can it possibly be taken away from us? Well, it's taken away from us. You can't take it away, but all you can do is deceive us about it. Separate our mind from it. Give us another idea. In other words, you cannot take the force away from us, but you can trick us into believing that it does not exist. That you can do. If you do not believe the force exists, you won't look for it. You won't train for it. You won't increase your power. You won't increase your consciousness because you can't. There's no such thing. You won't do anything for your soul because there's no such thing as a soul. You don't believe in it. Now, why don't you believe in it? Why don't we believe in it? Because we have been taught not to believe in it. And it happens on all different levels. And science is probably the most potent, the most powerful level that this happens. And science, modern science, is materialistic. And that is basically the belief system they've given us. A materialistic belief system. And it happens in all different ways. Science, politics is the other one, money. All this system, this setup, creates a materialistic mindset. And what I'm trying to do on this channel is bring back the force. We've got to get this force again. We've all got it. If we just could realize it. And if we realize it, we would practice, we would train, we would meditate, we would increase our force. And that is the beginning of a better world. So we can't have that. The powers that be, or rather the powers that should not be, they like the world the way it is. And they have taught us to believe that, oh, the world has to be like this. There's always this terrible corruption. It always is. It's a materialistic world. There's only this material substance. There's only money. There's only particles, atoms. There's nothing else. So that's the way the world is. You guys accept it and get on with it. They benefit from us believing this. It's very important. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And that's why I come at this from so many different angles. And today again, science. Let me talk about science because this is the fundamental foundation of materialism. You only believe in atoms, material substance. And now we've got quantum. And quantum is a bit more mysterious. We're now talking about the quantum field, which is moving towards the ether, which is the force, but not quite. It's still not good enough because quantum means atoms. Let's call this an atom. An atom has particular energy states, and that gives particular energies, frequencies, quantities of energy. So we call those quantums or quanta. But it's only in an atom. This is only an effect of an atom. Quantum is something that happens once you've got atoms. You can ask this to any quantum physicist. What I'm saying is there's more than just atoms. There's still something else. And it's such an important thing. We can't get our head around this. This is the very foundation of materialism, atomism. And it goes back to two fundamental philosophies, monism and dualism. Dualism says, well, they're atoms, but then they also accept there's consciousness. They have to say there's a soul. But so there's soul and matter, two different things. Now the problem is you've got to explain the soul. Now you've got to explain matter. There's two different things to explain. Monism says there's only one thing. One thing. But what is that one thing? That one thing is the soul. It is consciousness. And everything manifests from there. So that's what I'm saying. Monism. There is only one thing. That one thing is consciousness. It's not atoms. Now, atoms will appear, but they will derive from consciousness. But what is the first thing to derive from consciousness? It's not atoms. The first thing that will derive from consciousness is light. Light. And we sort of all know that. Because, you know, what about the classic image? I've got an idea. You see a light bulb. There's a light that's gone on in your head. That's an idea. So we already are equating consciousness and light. But consciousness is still not light. It's a metaphysical light. You see, here's a real light, but if I close my eyes, I can imagine a light. So in my mind's eye, I can see light, but it's just imagination. This one is a physical, objective light. We can all see this. But they're still the same light. Okay, this is where the philosophy comes in. The light in consciousness is the one that comes before the light in reality, in physical reality. But it can do because it's the same light. Now, let's look at this. Okay, an experiment. Imagine here, between my hands, I can create some light. I visualize light. I'm imagining it, but this imagination is concentrating on something that is real. In other words, I'm using consciousness, imagination, but I'm directing imagination into reality. So I have to direct it into reality. So here I imagine light, but light is also reality. And I create a more and more intense visualization of light, and I feel it. I also feel the energy in my body. Now, there are chi masters that can generate a spark. You'll get a spark. A spark is light. You see it, a light, a spark of light. Electricity, but that is light. It's all the same energy. So, it can be done. But I think we can all do it. We've got very subtle detectors now. You could get a detector that measures light or something, and you can see if you can create a tiny amount of light. So that means consciousness is creating physical light. Metaphysical light creates physical light. Etheric energy creates physical energy. But they're the same energy. You can look at it as an increase in intensity. Now, in Tibetan practice, they do meditation, and they have a thing they call tumo, an inner fire, a psychic fire. But they meditate on this fire, this light, and it creates real light, real heat. Remember, heat is also light. It's the same thing. If you generate heat in your body, that is light. Low frequency light is heat. Same thing. We can all do that. You can feel heat, generate heat in your hands. It wasn't there before. Now I create it. How did I create it? My consciousness created it. So they would do this. They would do deep meditation. They sit out on the mountains in the snow. They get a blanket. They strip down to their underpants, and they've got a blanket soaked in cold water. They'll cover themselves in this cold water blanket, just in their underpants, go and sit out in the snow in a stationary position and meditate. And they would generate this inner fire. They would generate heat in their body, real heat, until this blanket is steaming. just steam rising off, and it dries out. Once you got to the level where the blanket dries out, you've done your meditation. And they've done experiments on these Tibetan monks. They've proven it. Yeah, they're generating heat. That is light. Consciousness is light, but it's metaphysical light. And that metaphysical light creates this physical light. Now, the problem is with science, like I said, it's only looking at an atom. And of course, light will come out of an atom. It always does. This physical light comes out of an atom, but it still doesn't. It still will come out of the ether. But we're only looking at light that comes out of an atom. So there is a particular frequency, a particular quantity that will come out of an atom. But the problem arises now, okay, that's quantum, but then they think it's a particle. Now, it cannot be a particle. I've talked about this. If light is a wave, a frequency, a disturbance, it will come out in all directions in a sphere. It has to. So even from an atom, light will come out spherically, all around. And it will go everywhere. It will go everywhere. If it was a particle, it comes out in one direction and is one point. And it separates from the source. Instantaneously, it will separate from the atom. Now, if light is a disturbance, there will be a movement, a frequency in the atom. There will be a slow delay as it separates. It's a very different effect. And they are so different. A particle is localized, but a field, a disturbance, is everywhere. There is two different things. They are so different, it's absolute madness to try and say they are the same thing. A particle and a wave, they cannot be the same thing. It's so ridiculous to even say that. That's where quantum mechanics has created this fundamental paradox. And the paradox means confusion. In real science, real Mother Nature, there will be no paradox. Cannot be any paradoxes. It will all make logical sense. It will be common sense. We will all be able to understand it, and you will understand it from your heart, your soul. It will ring true. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Of course it does. That's simple. Quantum mechanics, modern physics, is confusing. It gets you more and more and more confused. Now you're just having crazy ideas. So it's like going, you might as well say, put it another way. Let's go like this. I want to create a unicorn. A unicorn. Or let's just say a magical creature. It's got the head of a monkey and the tail of a fish, but it's alive. I can't create this. You see, I cannot. There is imagination that is impossible. Because imagination is infinite. Physical reality has to be possible. In other words, has to follow some rules. So when you use imagination towards physical reality, it will create physical reality. But if you use imagination off to fantasy, it's separating from physical reality. And that's what they're doing to us. By giving us false information, they are separating our consciousness off, away from physical reality. We are being separated from our body. Consciousness is going somewhere else. That is weakening us. And they need us to be weak for the very simple reason that we are easier to control. They want to control our mind, our consciousness. If we have a strong mind, a strong consciousness, and the only way to have that is awareness of your body, awareness of physical reality. It's being grounded. Now, I know people laugh at me, think I'm crazy, I'm ungrounded. Yeah, I'm saying the opposite. Quantum physics, the modern physicists, modern scientists are completely ungrounded. They are not grounded in reality at all. They are grounded in this fundamental paradox that light is a wave and it's a particle. Both. No. And the only way you can break free of this is understand there is more than just atoms. In other words, here in my hands, I'm creating light. It's a psychic light, consciousness light. But as I increase that, it is slowly becoming objective. Now, we can only objectively see this at the point where it will interact with an atom. So I have to create enough light that it will interact with an atom, then we can perceive it. But until then, it's not enough light. Okay, do you see? Now, there are experiments been done, psychic experiments. You take a radioactive material. So you've got a radioactive material and you've got a Geiger counter and you're listening. Tick, 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 tick. And it's got a certain frequency. Tick, 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 tick. But the psychic then sends energy to the radioactive material. And then the Geiger counter goes up. Tick, 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 tick. So they've done this experiment. Over hundreds of thousands of people. On average, it can be done. Psychically, you are increasing the radioactive rate. You are affecting the atoms in the radioactive material. In other words, you are creating light. Light is going in there and disturbing the atoms, increasing their rate of decay. Because it is only light. You have consciousness. Consciousness focuses and creates light. What is light? Light is the appearance of two things, electrostatics and magnetism. But these, we know this, physics talks about them. Electrostatics is a static field, and magnetism is also a field, but it's a dynamic field. Magnetism creates movement. Electrostatics is a static field. But a field, herein lies the problem again, a field is everywhere. It's fluid. It's analog. When you're thinking about atoms and quantum, you are imagining a digital universe. That's why you cannot say the quantum field. The quantum field means digital. It's not digital, it's analog. So again, imagine this as an atom, a radioactive atom. Here's my hand, I'm creating light. But a little bit of light is first consciousness, no effect. More and more and more light, more and more and more light. It's increasing steadily. Suddenly I reach the point of enough light, boom, where it will affect one single atom. Only one. But I keep going more and more and more light. Now I affect 10 atoms, 20 atoms, 50 atoms. Now I affect 1,000,000 atoms. But it's a continuous flow, an increase in frequency, increase in quantity of energy, light, up to the point where it will affect material substance. Because it's the same light, but it's pure fluid, analog, not digital. The digital idea has separated us. That is dualism, ones and zeros. Now I'm talking about it, yin and yang, 1 and a 0, but the yin and the yang come from unity, and it is created from unity, and the unity is light. When electrostatics and magnetism appear, they appear together in this movement, and that is light. And there's a pulsation, a particular frequency that this light appears, because electrostatics has to appear. That is the moment where energy, a potential is created, but then magnetism has to appear immediately afterwards to pull it back. You see, it's a movement, a rhythm, an expansion and a contraction. And this fundamental appearance is a perfect balance of electrostatics and magnetism, that is light. And that perfect balance between electrostatics and magnetism is based on the golden ratio. And you can see it in the magnetic field itself. There's a particular way you can look at the magnetic field and you'll see an egg shape. It's to do with the difference between the expansion and the contraction of the North Pole and the South Pole. But it's more to it than that. Again, I'm talking slightly metaphorically here. There's a clockwise and an anti-clockwise, but it appears in a different proportionality. And if you do an experiment where you take a strong magnet like this, put it in a bottle of water, and then you freeze it, you will see the ice creates a sort of egg shape around it. People have done this. So it means that egg shape is the golden ratio, an expression of the golden ratio mathematics. It is the fundamental mathematics of the creation of light. That is the law of the universe. That is why the golden ratio is the most important number, most important geometry. That's where the power is. That's the creation of light. But the golden ratio exists before light. See here, I'm imagining light. That's just the golden ratio mathematics, visualizing light. But light has still not appeared unless I focus. Now try this little experiment. Look at me just with half closed eyes. Relax for a second. Try to open your mind's eye. Become psychic. That's opening the third eye. That's what they talk about. It means we can perceive this psychic light, consciousness. You will see light in your mind's eye, but you're not seeing physical light. Now, once you can see this psychic light, there's no doubt in your mind, oh yeah, of course there's another light, etheric light, because I've seen it. That's the psychedelic experience. Once people have a psychedelic experience, they can see inner light. But it's not physical light, but they're seeing light. You're seeing geometry. So let's try this experiment. I'm going to project a burst of light. And I want to see if you can see this. So you have to watch me, but watch me with half closed eyes through the screen. I'm going to send it through the screen. And you just got to relax. Relax your mind. Just see inside your mind. Just see if you can perceive inside your brain. Close your eyes for a second. See inside. Then open your eyes halfway. And you're watching me on the screen. And you've got to watch me because you've got to know the timing. So I'm going to build up a pulse of light. And I'm going to throw it out fast. So when you see the sudden movement, see if you perceive a little burst of light in your mind's eye. So it's coming. 3, 2, 1. So I don't know if you saw anything or not. It doesn't matter if you didn't. Okay. But it's an experiment. And all I was doing was focusing energy, focusing my consciousness inside to a bubble, into a ball. And it's getting brighter and brighter and brighter, denser and denser, hotter and hotter. Then I compacted it in, and then exploded it. So then it would have a little explosion. Boof, it'd go out. So let's see. But I know I'm not under no illusion that's not physical light. I know that is imagination. I know that. People will be laughing, it's imagination. Yeah, I know it's imagination. It is focused imagination onto reality. I'm focusing on reality, a sphere. That is real geometry. Here's a sphere. I'm focusing inside my body. My body is reality. I'm focusing the electricity, the energy in my body inwards, behind my chest, in my heart center. in a real place. Then I'm feeling it getting more and more intense. Then I'm suddenly compacting it, boom, and exploding it. And then I feel it go out. So that's not a particle, that's a field. That's the field of consciousness. That's what we're playing with. That's what the universe is. That is what has been taken away from us. Where is that consciousness? It is me. I am that consciousness. What do you mean? Yeah, once you realize you are that consciousness, suddenly your imagination has real power. That's the trick. They've told you, it's just imagination. It's fantasy. There's no power. You're just a dreamer. That's the lie. That's the fantasy. That's the deception. That's the evil that has been perpetrated on this world. That is why I talk about this in all different ways. All I'm trying to do is bring back the chi, the force, for all of us. There are people taking it away. But those guys, the top guys, yeah, we all know they've got their secret groups, secret meetings where they do their secret magic. What have they got? All the special numbers. What's that? Esoteric practice. What's that? Consciousness. So they know they're playing with consciousness and they know they're taking ours. They know what they're doing. But we've got science because they believe materialism. But where did they get that materialism from? Because older science talked about the ether. They were not the materialists. Later we've got quantum. That's the materialism. That's the resurgence of the materialist. That comes from the money people. That comes from the same people. It's all created. It's very clever, extremely clever. What we've got now are so-called physicists, are mathematicians. It's very clever mathematics, but it's fantasy mathematics. They are the ones in the fantasy. They are the ones separated from their own body. They've got no experience of the force. They're purely materialists. They're the useful idiots. They've got no power. But we, the simple people, we're actually quite innocent. We believe what we're told. Oh, they're scientists. He's got PhD. He's got Nobel Prize. Wow, they're clever. And they tell us the science fiction. We get the science fiction movies, then later on, oh, that's fact. But it's not, it's fantasy. The universe is analog, fluid, the ether, the chi, the force. That's not physical, metaphysical. I'm just imagining it. But I increase the power of my imagination. I integrate it with my body. Now it becomes real. Now I can feel this. If I can get more, maybe I get a spark. Now nobody can deny that. That would be real. That's very difficult. I've already done a video showing a guy who can do that. The trouble is they've got these masters. They can do one or two real things, but they also do tricks. So again, to find an honest, true, high-level chi master is very difficult these days. And that's why they used to go to the mountains. You want to find one of these real masters, they're off somewhere in a cave. They're not bothered with society. They're off in the energy world. They're travelling about. They're not bothered to come down and tell us anything. They're doing bigger things. Because the chi is the consciousness. If you understand consciousness creates this body, I can create a body of consciousness. That's what I'm leading up to. How to build an energy body. A light body. The Tibetans talk about it, the rainbow body. They all talk about it. It's the ether, not materialism. There is material, but this is analog. You see, I am consciousness. This material substance has been created from consciousness. I talk about it. how it's created. It is step by step. But once it's created, now it's here. Now I can interact with it. That's what I'm doing. I'm interacting with matter. So it appears like two different things, but it's still one and the same thing. One energy, consciousness, light. But you've got metaphysical light and you've got physical light. Here I've got it. This is a metaphysical geometry creating some metaphysical light. We can't see it, but a psychic person might, oh, that's got some good energy. And here you've got a physical light. We can all see that. But they're both real. That's the lie. We've been told, that's rubbish. No, it's not. All ancient technology is built on this. That's why we dismiss it. We only look at this. Oh, no, it's not this, it's this. Well, it is. Of course, it is also technology. We acknowledge everything. The main deception is we have been separated. Our soul has been destroyed, taken away from us. That we have to regain. Regain our soul and regain our soul power. That's what this is. Ether physics, Jedi training. It's just bringing back the soul. So I hope this talk made sense. Again, thank you so much for listening to me. Please do leave me any questions or comments, and I hope to see you in any of these other videos here.